Starting in the name of Allah, the most merciful, mighty and gracious to all. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, and welcome to the class of Business Research Methods. Students, we are going to start the 8th lecture about the business research methods, and in this lecture we are going to study the same hypothesis development. Up now, this lecture number 8, that is the extension of your lecture number 7. Already we have covered in lecture number 7 that what is hypothesis testification or what is hypothesis development. Today the same concept, hypothesis development, we are going to discuss with the help of statistical notations. If you remember, we discussed the null hypothesis as well as alternative hypothesis. Now in this lecture we are going to discuss further about the null and alternative hypothesis with the help of statistical notations. Now let's start from the first. Let me explain. Now in the last lecture we explained that what is null hypothesis and what is alternative hypothesis, and then we discussed some directional hypothesis and some indirectional hypothesis or non-directional hypothesis. Now we are going to discuss some more about the directional hypothesis with the help of the statistical notations. Simply stated, like for example, I have an example that in we state that women are more motivated than men. If you remember, in the last lecture already we have discussed this relationship clear. Already we have discussed clear this example that women are more motivated than men. Up first, in the 7th lecture we only theoretically explain the concept of the hypothesis. Now today we are going to discuss clear the statistical notation application clear of hypothesis. सादा अल्फाज के लास्ट टाइम गोरा मुंगा hypothesis सिर्फ theoretical explain करी दी. नन बज़िता सोला hypothesis चिकम दे दा बज़िता सोला statistical point of view सर explain कमा statistical point मतलब statistical मुंगो hypothesis संग जोड़ो संग मुंग directional hypothesis जोड़ो संग मुंग non-directional hypothesis जोड़ो संग मुंग null hypothesis भी जोड़ो statistical और संग मुंगा alternative hypothesis भी हम जोड़ो. कस्तासु तैयारी last time a bit we discussed about the null hypothesis. Null hypothesis माता सो तो पहले हम दा explain करे च गुरा हर यो अगा hypothesis च कम मुंगा testify कवल वाड़ो. That hypothesis which is clear basically used clear to test the hypothesis for the rejection purpose, that hypothesis is known as your null hypothesis. याद साथ ही mathematically statistically null hypothesis हमेशा h0 सरा represent की. Already we have discussed these things clear in inferential statistics. नो दल तब सिर्फ ज़ता सुला आइडिया क्लियर कमा उसको h0 चिकम दे h0 चिकम दे it is known as your null hypothesis. उस null hypothesis के दयो hypothesis लिखमा. अब hypothesis से दे hypothesis दा दे theoretical women are more motivated than men. नो कुरा दा यो statement दा यो theory दा चे women are more motivated than men. उस does convert कवल वाड़मा I want to convert it into the testable statements. नो याद साथ ही हमेशा द कम च theoretical statement दे like a women are more motivated than men दा कला हम directly ना test की. We have to convert it into statistical statements. सही हुआ? नो उस च कला हम testable statements के मुंगा convert को, so we have to study from the average point of view. नो मुंग सरा यो group दे women और मुंग सरा बल group दे men. और वेरिएबल ऑफ इंटरेस्ट ऑफ स्टडी से द मोटिवेशन दा मुंग सरा वेरिएबल दे मतलब मोटिवेशन ऑफ मेन मोटिवेशन ऑफ वुमेन. नो उस चिकला हम दो ग्रुप्स सही हुआ मेन एंड वुमेन दे दे मोटिवेशन लेवल मुंग स्टडी कवल वाड़ू, सो वी हैव टू स्टडी ऑन एवरेज. सही हुआ उस एवरेज चिकम दे दा यो स्टैटिस्टिकल नोटेशन दे दा गोरी दलता ताकु सरा निकले दे म्यू, दैट इज पैरामीटर एवरेज. अब म्यू ऑफ m it mean average motivation level of men and that come the average motivation level of women. Both are equal. Now go to that directional hypothesis. एच नॉट मा तास तो हमेशा वे चे नल हाइपोथेसिस दा ब हमेशा चे दे सही नो सिग्निफिकेंट डिफरेंस पर इस्तेमाल की मतलब चे कला हम मुंग हाइपोथेसिस जस्टिफिकेशन स्टार्ट आखलू मुंग दे खबर न स्टार्ट आलू चे दो ग्रुप्स तरमन के इस फर्क नश्त दे दोड़ा बराबर दी नो चे कला हम मुंगा वही चे दोड़ो के इस फर्क नश्त दे दोड़ा बराबर दी हमेशा दा वाइना चे कमदा दा एच नॉट के नल हाइपोथेसिस के निकल की. As I said to you that when we start to test the hypothesis, we always get a start from the average, and we say when both the groups clear having no statistically significant difference or both are equal. So now we want to put this thing clear, this statement into null hypothesis, and here you can see the H naught null hypothesis average motivation level of men is equal to average motivation level of women. मतलब औसत men motivation level और औसत women motivation दा बराबर दे. In other words दी मतलब दा शो चे दी के फर्क नश्त दे. और we can say H naught mu m minus mu w मतलब motivation level of men minus फर्क motivation level of women equal to 0. दोनों टर्म्स के चे कम डिफरेंस फर्क दे माइनस दे अगर सिफर बराबर दे. कस्ता सोयाद यू माता तो लदा खबर पैरम करीवा चे दो तर सीजनो तरमंस के चे फर्क सिफर शी नो इट मीन बोथ आर इक्वल. अगर जवाया मा चे ए अशफाक और असद दे द्वारों के फर्क नश्त दे यदि द्वारों के फर्क सिफर दे नो इट मीन बोथ आर इक्वल. सही हुआ. नो दैट क्लियर इज नोन एज द स्टैटिस्टिकल नोटेशन चे स्टैटिस्टिक्स वाइज सही हुआ यो हाइपोथेसिस मासंग कन्वर्ट को टेस्टेबल स्टेटमेंट के where mu m is the mean motivational level of men and mu w is the mean motivational level of women. उस एग्जांपल चे कम दे डायरेक्शनल दे दा खुस्ता सुसरा h naught शो. Now we want to study the alternative hypothesis. उस last time already we have discussed चे alternative hypothesis हमेशा h1 सरा या ha सरा डिनोट की. A mean alternative. Alternative hypothesis हमेशा it is the opposite of your null hypothesis. दाब हमेशा चे कम तासो नल की से निकली दी दाब हमेशा आगे उल्टाई. हालांकि पुकार खुदा दा चे अल्टा से निकल शिवी दी अल्टा निकल शिवी दी म्यू माइनस म्यू डब्ल्यू दैट इज इक्वल टू 0. नो बाय चे अल्टरनेटिव सुशी नॉट इक्वल टू 0 शी. लेकिन द एग्जांपल से द एग्जांपल डायरेक्शन दा देखे डायरेक्शन गिवन दे नो जका दल तमाली कली दी चे म्यू ऑफ m लेस देन म्यू ऑफ w मतलब एवरेज मोटिवेशन लेवल ऑफ men less than average motivation level of women. मतलब चे motivation level of men चे कम दे दा कम दे सही as compared to women. दा यो डायरेक्शन दे मतलब women are greater in motivation level as compared to male. ब्यामुंगा दा से हम लिखले छु चे average motivation level of men greater than average motivation level of women. या दा हम कवले छु चे motivation level of men चे कम दे अगर सेवा दे motivation level of women. No gura us delta the greater sign or less sign. This one is less sign, this one is greater sign. It shows us the indication, it shows us the direction. सही हुआ. नुम या हो मेल मोटिवेशन लेवल सेवा की देशी वुमेन ना या वुमेन मोटिवेशन लेवल सेवा की देशी मेल ना. Hope inshallah a bit idea will be clear. Now statistical point of view sara सही हुआ under the directional hypothesis we have made the null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis. उस मुंग गुरु नॉन डायरेक्शनल रिलेशनशिप या नॉन डायरेक्शनल हाइपोथेसिस के नल और अल्टरनेटिव हाइपोथेसिस बसंग जुड़ी ही. अवल डा दे जो थ्योरेटिकल एग्जांपल मेरा वाखस्ता थ्योरेटिकल स्टेटमेंट. देयर इज अ डिफरेंस बिटवीन द वर्क एथिक्स ऑफ अमेरिकन एंड अरेबियन एम्प्लॉइज. द एग्जांपल मता सुता लेक्चर नंबर 7 के हम दर करेवा चिकुरा अरेबियन एम्प्लॉइज और अमेरिकन एम्प्लॉइज दे टर्मन्स के वर्क एथिक्स टर्मन्स के सही हुआ से फर्क दे. उस दा माता ना द फर्क चे आया अमेरिकन्स आर मोर गुड देन अरेबियन और अरेबियन आर मोर एथिकल देन अमेरिकन्स. सही हुआ. लेकिन दा वही दी टर्मन्स के फॉर एग्जांपल फर्क दे. अब क्वेश्चन से दे क्वेश्चन दे नॉन डायरेक्शनल. नो ऑन एवरेज बुम स्टडी को सही हुआ गोरा ऑन एवरेज हियर इज h naught null hypothesis. अब ऑन एवरेज दाशु तासु सरा फॉर एग्जांपल am अमेरिकन ऑन एवरेज अमेरिकन एथिकल वैल्यूज is equal to on average Arabian for example employees. AR mean Arabians सही हुआ and AM mean Americans. जो आया मा चे on average American और Arabian work ethics के दोड़ा बराबर दी चे दोड़ा बराबर दी it simply means that their difference that is equal to 0 where AM is the mean work ethic value of Americans and AR is the mean work ethics of Arabians Arabs. सही हुआ या Arabians. उस याद साथ ही नॉन डायरेक्शन दे नॉन डायरेक्शन के जे अल्टरनेटिव हाइपोथेसिस दे अब हमेशा नॉट इक्वल टू जीरो एवरेज AM नॉट इक्वल टू एवरेज AR या एवरेज AM माइनस एवरेज AR नॉट इक्वल टू सिफर अल्टरनेटिव वो हमेशा दे उल्टा ही नाउ लुक एट हियर अल्टरनेटिव हाइपोथेसिस की देशी ऑन एवरेज Americans सही not equal to on average Arabians दा हम हाइपोथेसिस की देशी सही और दा हम की देशी on average American minus on average Arabian सही not equal to 0. Hope inshallah a bit idea will be clear. Now we will move to the next non-directional hypothesis. Let me first highlight the pointer here and then we will explain. Now another non-directional relationship hypothesis we are going to develop. Now the theoretical statement is the greater the stress experienced in the job, the lower the job satisfaction of employees. Students, if you remember here, look at here. Here we have two variables again. Number one, that is the stress variable, is it? And when we have the job satisfaction, stress and job satisfaction, we have two variables. And now what is the logical relationship here? Greater the stress in the job, it means when employees they will feel higher stress, it means stress is increasing, so the next job satisfaction, next variable, that is decreasing, is it? So now the null hypothesis we are going to calculate, clear, we are going to discover a null hypothesis for the non-directional relationship, and that will be the correlation. Basically we are going to study the correlation between two variables, that is stress and job satisfaction. Up theoretical hypothesis H0, the null hypothesis is that there is no relationship between stress experienced on the job and the job satisfaction of employees. Simply stated, we can say that there is no relationship between two variables, that is stress and satisfaction. And here we say that H0 null hypothesis, that is rho equal to 0. Rho means that is a correlation sign. Chikam correlation ke munga rho wale de सही हुआ या कम चे नोटिफिकेशन दे सही हुआ या कम चे फॉर एग्जांपल नोटेशन दे कोरिलेशन दे पारा रो या आर चे वर्त वयु that is equal to 0. So that is not P, that is basically rho. So here P rho represent the correlation between stress and job satisfaction, which in this case is equal to 0. It means when your correlation is equal to 0, चिकला हम correlation सिफर बराबर दे, it means that there is no correlation between two variables. Up on the other hand, the alternative hypothesis we see, that is for the above null hypothesis we can be stated that P rho less than 0. It means well, for example ka non-directional de, is it? Amunga alternative hypothesis joda wal wadu no bya tasu wele shi che rho not equal to 0. When rho is not equal to 0, simply stated, that will be known as your non-directional relationship या नॉन डायरेक्शनल हाइपोथेसिस. लेकिन उस दल्त चिकम दे रो लेस देन 0 दे, लो लेस देन 0 मीन्स दैट इट इज क्लियर देयर इज अ रिलेशनशिप. नो उस रिलेशनशिप खुश दे चे लेस देन सिफर दे मतलब देयर इज अ कोरिलेशन, that is a correlation exists between two variables, stress and satisfaction. लेकिन रो लेस देन 0 दे, it means both the variables are negatively correlated. गोरा दल्त दा वही the greater the stress, the lower will be the job satisfaction. मतलब the greater higher the stress. चे सूरा फिशार स्ट्रेस चकम दे सही टेंशन चकम दे दा सिवा कीगी और satisfaction चकम दे दा कमीगी. One variable is increasing, another variable is decreasing. तो ज़ाहिरी खबर दा यो लगे सिवा कीगी बल लगे कमीगी. So therefore indirectly related दी या there is a negative relationship between two variables, stress and job satisfaction. So therefore I am stating here that rho is less than sifar. If kada rho is greater than sifar way, no, it means that yes, again there is a relationship. लेकिन ब्याह relationship बस है, ब्याह relationship positive है between two variables. Another example that there is a relationship between age and job satisfaction. Us again we have two variables. One is age and one is job satisfaction. So for this we are expressing that rho equal to 0 and alternative hypothesis rho not equal to 0. अब गोरा again a non-directional hypothesis. Rho equal to 0 simply means that both are correlated. Rho not equal to 0 रो इक्वल टू 0 मीन्स दैट दे आर नॉट कोरिलेटेड सही छो दे टर्म्स की कोरिलेशन सिफर दे मतलब इस रिलेशन नश्त दे एंड व्हेन रो इक्वल टू नॉट इक्वल टू 0 it means that yes there is a correlation. Ab it is not identified that either it is a positive correlated or either both variables are negatively correlated, but simply munga way yes there is a relationship existing between these two. Now the exercise says sasu de para सही छो तसो खपल दे माने hypothesis जोड़ कई one we have service quality variable, one we have customer switching variable and one we have switching cost. Na sasu practice de para सही छो and another we have customer satisfaction. No service quality independent variable, customer switching dependent variable, customer satisfaction that's also sort of mediating variable da koshish hu kai chi de mane ta khpala hypothesis generate kai. Hope inshallah bit idea will be clear dura so difficult nadi. Yo another example we discuss who a production manager is concerned about the low output levels of his employees. Now the article that he read of the job performance mentioned 4 variables as important to job performance. Come de skill required for the job, rewards, motivation and satisfaction. In several articles it was also indicated that only if the reward were attractive so did motivation, satisfaction and job performance is reached, not otherwise. Now let's see the next. Ab dekhiye first what you have to do, you first have to define the problem, then you have to study the theoretical framework and then you have to develop at least 6 hypotheses. Zaruri the 6 hypotheses whatever the variables you have clear according to the variable you have to study those hypotheses. How can the job performance of the employees be increased through enriched jobs and rewards? Now pura de para my schematic diagram jod kare सही छो तासु schematic diagram katale shi here it is skill required by job and reward both are known as your independent variables. Then valence of rewards, attraction of rewards, that is known as your moderating variable. Up performance of the employee, it is known as your dependent variable. But in between the independent variable and dependent variable we have some mediating factors as well, and these mediating factors are known as your intervening variables. So here satisfaction and motivation, that is simply known as your intervening variables. Now padimani you have to make the different hypotheses. Number 1, hypothesis number 1, if the job is enriched and utilizes all the skills possessed by the employee then employee satisfaction will be high. Gora dalta do variable di yaw the job is enriched matlab job enrichment and next is satisfaction. No dalta awalane hypothesis first I have made an hypothesis between 2 variables, that is job enrichment and employee satisfaction. Next possible hypothesis can be if the job is enriched, again I took the job is enriched utilizes all the skills possessed by the employee then employee motivation will be high. Now here I have connected a hypothesis with job enrichment and employee satisfaction. Here I took again the job enrichment and I make a assumption clear about the motivation. Then the possible third hypothesis will be that there will be a positive correlation between satisfaction and motivation. Again I have taken a variable here satisfaction and again I connected with the motivation and I am going to say that there is a positive relationship. Positive relationship means that if satisfaction is increasing motivation is also increasing. Yeah, if motivation is increasing so employee satisfaction will also be increasing because satisfaction and motivation of employees both are acting as an intervening variable. So now the fourth possible hypothesis can be greater rewards will influence motivation and satisfaction only for those employees who find the rewards attractive, not for the others. Fifth hypothesis can be that satisfaction and motivation will positively influence performance. Now look at here, satisfaction and motivation both are acting as an intervene or mediating variable. Both intervening variables having impact clear on the outcome, and the outcome is what? Performance. And performance is your dependent variables. It means dependent variable clear depend upon on the independent variable, but between the dependent variable and independent variable we have clear a temporal effect, and that is mediating variable, that is motivation and satisfaction. Now the last sixth possible hypothesis that more enrich the job and greater the skills utilized by the job. Again look at here, enrich the job matlab job enrichment, is it utilized by the job, the higher the level of employee performance. Now look at here, performance is your again dependent variable, that is the output, and here I have job enrichment, and the skill utilization. Up dependent variable is performance, it depends upon on the job enrichment. So therefore it says the more the higher enriched in the job, the greater the skill utilized by the job, so the higher the level of employee performance as well. Hope inshallah a bit idea will be clear. Now we have another example. Saishwa that also study okay, or inshallah then further chede andaga process te identify ki pake 12 variables, which one is our dependent variable, which one is our independent variable, and what are intervening variables, then make a schematic diagram and then make the hypothesis testification. So despite the dramatic increase in the number of managerial women during the current decade, the number of women in the top management positions continues to be very small, suggesting a class ceiling effect, that is glass ceiling effect, minority restriction, women restriction effect that women currently face. So given the projected demographics of the workplace, which forecast that for every 6 or 7 women entering the workforce in the future, there will be about only 3 males joining the labor market, it becomes important to examine the organizational factors that would facilitate the yearly advancement of women to top positions or key positions. So this study is an effort to identify the factors that currently embed women's advancement to the top in the organization. Up now read the paragraphs about the literature survey and theoretical framework. Dama book na example राखस्ते हैं. सही हुआ? Page तकरीबन जमा book के 93 देता तो पर text book क्यों करी और दे माने तासो दगा जोड़े करी. सही हुआ? Hypothesis जोड़े करी. So therefore अब conditions पके कम की देशी hypothesis. The greater the extent of gender stereotyping in organization, the fewer will be the number of women at the top. Simply stated. Next, male managers have more access to critical information than women managers in the same rank. Third possibility se kideshi, there will be a significant positive correlation between access to information and chances for promotion to top level or key positions. Next possibility da kideshi, the more the sex role stereotype, the less the access to critical information for women. And the last, sex role stereotype and access to critical information will both significantly explain the variance in promotional opportunities for women for the key positions or let's suppose your top level position. अंदर total scenario चुका मदा दे पारा schematic diagram में जोड़ करे दे चुगुरा stereotyping variable दे, access to information variable दे, and advancement of women to the top दे. अब advancement मतलब excel, women excel in for the key position, that dependent variable दे. पस माने depend कई, पस stereotyping variable माने depend कई, and सासो access to information माने depend कई. The whole diagram is simply known as your schematic diagram. Hope inshallah a bit idea will be clear. Now Guri, another example de, a school administrator is interested in finding how threatened teacher strike can be averted. Like amunga sanga teacher strike chikam de amunga change kawale chu control kawale chu. He knows that pay demands and the classroom's physical environment are the two main issues in the situation. He however feels that these two are not major concern for the teachers who are extremely dedicated to the teaching. Dina elawa hum kidishi so variables pake involve. Now let's start. Since the administrator's main concern is about the strike, teacher's strike is the dependent variable. No delta strike chikam de matlab teacher strike asta sara dependent variable de. Pasamana depend kai pa pay and physical environment of classrooms are the two independent variable. Matlab strike chikam de teacher strike da mung sara dependent variable de. और दा पश्चिम माने डिपेंड कई पर पे पमाश माने and physical environment, physical conditions माने the classroom physical condition माने और दा सासु सरा द्वा independent variable थी किदिशी देना अलावा से mediating और moderating variables हम पकी सही हुआ अगर गुरु चाहे पके mediating और moderating variables तक नष्ट दे. Let's start some further theoretical framework. The greater the pay demands made by the teacher, the greater the possibility of strike. Since the school administration refused the idea of higher wages, so what will be happen? The more uncomfortable the classroom physical environment, the more difficult it will be for teachers to do an effective job in the classroom. Saida, and hence the greater the possibility of teachers going to on strike. Now let's start. However, this relationship between the independent variables and the dependent variables will be truly only for those teachers who are not dedicated to teaching. The truly dedicated teachers would be more concerned about doing a good job despite the hardship faced by them, and hence pay demands and the classroom environments will not be factors influencing their decision to join the strike. Now what will be the schematic diagram for this situation? This situation ke gora pay and physical environment both are known as your independent variables. while independent variable न से generate कीगी teacher strike सही हुआ जो टीचरानो पे खाना दा अगाब स्ट्राइक की फिजिकल कंडीशन खानदी अगाब स्ट्राइक की लेकिन पूरा दा डिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल चिकम दे सही हुआ दे तरमंस के योर डेडिकेशन अनदर वेरिएबल दे एंड दिस डेडिकेशन वेरिएबल इज नोन एज योर मॉडरेटिंग वेरिएबल चोरा च डेडिकेशन बहाई नो की देशी सही हुआ स्ट्राइक रेट चिकम दे अगा कमशी सोर डेडिकेशन च कम दे नो की देशी स्ट्राइक रेट च कम दे अगा हाई शी सो इट मीन्स डेडिकेशन बिटवीन इंडिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल एंड डिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल दैट इज एक्टिंग एज अ मॉडरेटिंग वेरिएबल नो उस कंदी मने मुंगा हाइपोथेसिस जोड़ो नो संग बे जोड़ो कम हाइपोथेसिस पॉसिबल दी नंबर 1 dedication to teaching will not alter the relationship between the independent variables of pay and classroom environment and the dependent variables for teachers decision go on strike dayo hypothesis ki deshi another hypothesis possibility only for those teachers who are not truly dedicated chaha devoted nadi to teaching tha will pay concentration and classroom environment be factors that would influence their decisions go on strike no da hum yo possible condition ki deshi dena ilawa we have some more variables as well सही हुआ उस गुरे दाता सोखपल वो गुरे चिदा कम variables ने and let's start clear with them with these 8 variables develop a theoretical framework treating number 4 student entry level skills as a moderator and variables 5 student understanding as an intervening variable develop 4 hypotheses da khode rasana gore khabar ada gore the variation in the performance of students in the exam can be accounted for by the 4 independent variables teachers understanding of the needs of the students number 1 the different teaching strategies developed by the teachers 2 the number of in class examples and exercises that the teacher gives and how difficult the exam itself happens to be now the next thing is that when the teacher understands students difficulties and needs he tries to develop appropriate teaching strategies in order to meet the needs of the students to understand what is being taught students understand will increase now on this demand in addition if the teacher uses several examples to put across the points and give exercises in class to test the extent to which students have understood then the students level of understanding of what is being taught will increase definitely so however the entry level skill of the students would be sufficiently adequate to enable them to understand what is being taught if the students entry level skills and comprehension are very low then the teacher's effort will not work ظاهري خبره ده چې سټوډنټانو بیسیک چې کم سکلز دي هغه کمپلیټډ نه دي هغه پالیش شوی نه وي نو ټیچر چې ډیرم effort وکړي صحیح شو so net result will be 0 so the level of difficulty of the exam is also another factor that would account for the variation in student performance so therefore more difficult the exam the more stress the students will feel while answering the exam and the lower will be their performances is it in the exam thus stress is the intervening variable no gura the theoretical framework na ma different possibilities tasul explain kam agar da tool if possibilities ke ma dependent or independent variable tasul explain kai us shortly the yo diagram pa shakal ke the mukammal che whatever sexual example ma tasul read out kro the example the schematic diagram pa shakal ke tasul explain ko ma che tasul idea clear shi gura studentano performance the exam performance अब स्टूडेंटानो एग्जाम परफॉर्मेंस इज अ डिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल अब दिस परफॉर्मेंस ऑफ द स्टूडेंट डिपेंड्स अपॉन ऑन दीज इंडिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल अहा कम दे अंडरस्टैंडिंग स्टूडेंट नीड्स अवल स्टूडेंटानो नीड होगरे इंडिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल बिया टीचिंग स्ट्रेटजीज टीचर पक्का में तरीके से तासुला टीचिंग कई दा हम यो इंडिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल दे बोले का यो टीचर ख टीचिंग कई ख स्ट्रेटजी एडॉप्ट कई नो स्टूडेंटानो परफॉर्मेंस वो खई because teacher check for example teaching effective na de no output check kam de studentano performance abo definitely effect ki another is classroom example the experiences sahi huwa action research bartawayo and the next is exam difficulties no the salur check kam sasu sara variables the salur variable these are known as your independent variable ab all these independent variable affecting the students performance yeah in other word we can say student performance dependent variable it is affecting by these 4 independent variables up in between the relation of dependent variables and independent variables we have some intervening variables as well mediating variables as well one say the entry level skills is it another say the student understanding and next is stress so stress and student understanding that's tasu sara intervening या mediating variable de and entry level skills the studentano gora that's tasu sara moderating variable de che yo student understanding che de agar depend kai per entry level skill mane like suppose when I'm going to deliver the lecture in English up that clear that is the student needs understanding needs सही हुआ चाहे स्टूडेंट ذکر ته پر راغله دي अब independent variable دي लेकिन पूरा this lecture when I am delivering the lecture in English of the students who having clear the good picking power in English, the students who can grab the lecture in English, aga studentan aga मासिलीन چې कम मतलब इंग्लिश باندې عبور لري په انګلیش باندې فور ایگزامپل قدرت لري نو هغه مودریټینګ سکل چې دی هغه خده چا چې خده صحیح شو نو هغه چې دی هغه انډرستانډینګ نورم خشي نو ګوره سټوډنټانو نیډ چې کوم دی لرنینګ دا انډیپندنت ویریبل دی هغه لرنینګ ډیپند کوي په انټری سکلز باندې سټوډنټانو چې څوره انګلیش کې پوي دی شي صحیح شو دا د مودریټینګ ویریبل چې څوره سیوا کیږي نو اور هغه انډرستانډینګ پوهه چې کومه ده هغه سیوا کیږي چې څوره پوهه سیوا کیږي نو هغه ایگزام پرفارمنس چې دی هغه سیوا شي نو اټ مینز چې ایگزام پرفارمنس it depends upon on the understanding student needs, but that depends upon on the moderating factor, that is entry level skills of the students and student understanding. So the whole scenario to come there, it contains the 4 variables, that is dependent variable, then we have the independent variable, then we have the intervening variable, and then we have the moderating variable. Gura exam difficulty, exam sakht hai, सही हुआ इम्तिहान सख्त दे अब एग्जाम चे सख्त दे स्टूडेंट पे न पुईगी नो डेफिनेटली दा चे दे टेम्पररी स्ट्रेस ब क्रिएट की नो गोरा उस स्ट्रेस चे कम दे स्ट्रेस सारा स्टूडेंट चे कम दे आहा परफॉर्मेंस इफेक्ट की नो एग्जाम परफॉर्मेंस और एग्जाम डिफिकल्टी द योर डिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल दे बल इंडिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल दे सही हुआ नो दे सारा यो द्रियम वेरिएबल चे दे आगा हम जनरेट शी आगा पैदाइशी एंड दैट इज नोन एज स्ट्रेस नो स्ट्रेस दलता से स्ट्रेस दलता इंडिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल दे वले چې تر څو پورې एग्जाम परफॉर्मेंस افیکټ کیږي لګي एग्जाम ډیفیکल्टी دلاسا صحیح شو نو دا ډایرکټ نه کیږي د ترمنس کې یو سټرس جنریټ کیږي ټینشن جنریټ کیږي نو دا تر څو پورې به ټینشن نو سټوډنټانو پرفارمنس چې کوم دی اب حتما خراب راځي نو ځکه دا سټرس چې کوم دی دا ایز ا انټروینینګ ویریبل دی بیکاز اٹ هاز ا ټیمپورل افیکٹ کلیئر بټوین د ډیپندنٹ ویریبل exam performance of the student and of the independent variable exam difficulty. Hope inshallah the whole example will be clear to you. Up the concern hypothesis can be between these 4 variables. The possible hypothesis is only for those who have the requisite entry level skills. Will more in class exercises and examples help increase the student level of understanding of the subject taught. Another hypothesis can be the more difficult the exams, the greater the stress experienced by the exam. دا خو common غونې خبره ده چې سورة exam به stress tough وي صحیح شو سخت وي او به ستاسو سټوډنټانو پرفارمنس به هم ټف وي نو دا هم یو پاسبل hypothesis کیدای شي. Another assumption دا کیدای شي the higher the level of stress experienced by the students, the lower their level of performance in the exam. If you notice here, that is again a possible hypothesis, but here I have mentioned the 2 variables again. One is the stress variable and another is the performance variable. But if you notice, one is higher, mean that the stress is increasing and the performance is decreasing. It means both are negatively correlated, is it? When stress is higher, matlab stress is increasing, the performance is decreasing. Stress tension چې کوم دی دا لګي سیوا کیږي نو چې سوره stress tension سیوا کیږي اورا performance چې دی هغه decrease کیږي. And the last possible assumption, that is when students understand the subject better, they will perform better in the examination. Now if you notice here we have clear the performance. अब دلتا دوا مونږ سره variables دي یو د understanding variable, another is performance. And now I'm going to make a logical relationship between the variable understanding and between the variable performance. अब one is increasing, another is increasing. If one will decrease, definitely another will decrease as well. So here the understanding of the students will increase, so it will have a direct, clear, positive influence on the performance of the student in the exam as well. Is it? Hope inshallah a bit idea will be clear. Thank you so much.